Hello everyone, all across India. I can see that everybody has joined. Wonderful, very good. Welcome to all of you to all this session of brand battles. This session is all about knowing the legendary tales of some of the most, world famous brand battles. And this is a session where we'll understand that sometimes innovation, it definitely comes from certain rivalries as well. So let's go ahead, let's start class. I am Shruti Kaura. I am an award winner at Unacademy. So let's go ahead, learn about this beautiful session, this beautiful journey, although it's short, but this beautiful journey with me. Let's go ahead. Wonderful. So, this is a glimpse of my award class. You all can have a look at it. I can see everybody is joining, although some are joining a little late, but please make sure there are 3 Ds of our class: dedication, devotion, and discipline. Punctuality has to be of utmost priority. Wonderful. Let's go ahead. Now, before I proceed further, class, most of the time I have been asked this question that, ma'am, we would like to be your student. We would like to be a part of your Unacademy family. So if you would like to be a part of my Unacademy family, use this code SCORALIVE. This will help you to not only get the discounts, but you'll get the majority of the benefits and the schemes through this code. Use this code throughout all the categories of Unacademy. You'll definitely be benefited. Wonderful. Let's go ahead. Now, all of you, everybody knows that the CAT offer is still there. 6+1 bumper offer, it's still there. This month, go ahead, utilize it. Secondly, this is the way to buy Unacademy subscription. There are two kind of subscriptions. One is Plus, as you can see here. Next is Iconic. For the Plus, the most favorite options are 12 months or 24 months. Why? Because the per month is 1367 and 1879 in 24 and 12 months respectively. Again, this is not just the end. You're going to get the discount with this code SCORALIVE once you use this code here. Next step. Now, what if somebody wants to go for the Iconic subscription? There, the per month charge for 24 month subscription is 27.92. And for the 12 months is 32.92. Again, you have to use the code SCORALIVE. Use it. Get the assignments in your mail, which are actually designed after much thought. Use this code and be a part of my Unacademy family. Wonderful. Doubt feature is already there. It's free for learners all across India. As soon as you go to the Unacademy app, right side, top corner, you can see Ask the Doubt feature. Go ahead, ask the doubts. You'll be benefited. Now, oh my God, Clash of the Titans, is it? It's a wonderful title. Yes, when two biggies, there is a brand battle, of course. So when there is a battle between the two biggies, the two brands, we call it Clash of the Titans. And trust me, it all starts with the dream. It's not like that you bump into someone, you start fighting with someone. No, it never starts like this. You see a dream, and then you encounter certain obstacles while seeing that dream or while pursuing that dream. So, during that time, you feel that ultimately I have to achieve my dream no matter what. So, in that case, you end up having certain clashes and battles too. So, let's go ahead learn about that. Before I go ahead, so I'm giving you a hint. I'm giving you a hint that what this session is going to be all about. The name that you could see here, it's somehow related to this person or maybe the next generation of this person. So what Mr. the Great Henry Ford has said, when everything seems to be going against you, everything going against you. So what do you have to think? Everything is going against you. My God, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going, is it? Yes, absolutely correct on those lines. When you feel that all across, everywhere, things are going against you. Remember, class, airplanes take off against the wind. Airplanes never take off in the same direction of the wind. It always takes off against the wind. So all of you, when you feel that everything is going against you, think in your mind that Shruti ma'am told us that airplanes always takes off against the wind. Right? Go ahead. Wonderful. Now, what are the benefits you're going to get from this video class? No doubt all the videos are beneficial, but if we specifically talk about these brand battles, so I'm going to learn about this particular legendary, world famous brand battle. Secondly, I'm going to learn some business and leadership lessons out of it, how this is going to help me. Let's go ahead. Ford versus Ferrari. Oh my God, is it going to talk about the battle between Ford and Ferrari? Yes, the legendary tale, the world famous story, and through which an innovation happened, the GT40 came out. So first of all, let me ask you, this is the logo of Ford. So what does Ford stand for? Oh, I am looking at the live chat. I am looking at the live chat. All of you, are you posting on the live chat? What does Ford stand for, or going on the Google? Okay, so let me tell you. For only drivers. So generally, the Ford racers, they also say for only drivers and we are willing. So for only drivers is a full form of Ford. Secondly, no doubt history is full of famous rivalries, be it business rivalries or be it rivalries for any other reason. But history is full of famous rivalries. And generally these rivalries, the root cause, the reason is generally due to wounded pride, or maybe power grab, or sometimes a combination of both. So what I just said, I'll repeat once again. Generally the business rivalries are there, but generally rivalries are due to there is a particular pursuit of power. It could be the first reason. Secondly, maybe there is some egotistical or egoistic reason for that. That is what we call the wounded pride. Or sometimes it could be a combination of both of them. Yeah. So, a legendary example, of such kind of, twisted relationship or a contentious relationship is the Ford versus Ferrari feud. Oh my God. This reminds me of the time when I went to the Buddha circuit with my family and I saw the race live. Trust me, it reminds me of that only. It was a wonderful experience. So Ford versus Ferrari. Oh my God, is it? Who is he? Is he Henry Ford? No. He is Henry Ford II. Henry Ford II, also called as Hang the Deuce. He acquired Ferrari in 1963. And of course, that feud, that battle, that dispute lasted almost a decade. 10 years is a big time. So what happened? This was a feud between Hank the Deuce or Henry Ford II and Enzo Ferrari. Even you can have a look at it, he is Enzo Ferrari class. If he was Henry Ford II, then this gentleman was Enzo Ferrari. He is a very strong-willed man. He owned the Italian brand Ferrari. At that time, he was the Italian car maker. So you are now, you have started getting a basic idea that what am I going to talk about. Let's go ahead and find out. No doubt this is a classic and a legendary and the most famous example of brand as well as personal rivalry. Yes, I'm repeating once again, all across India, Ford versus Ferrari is not just a case of a brand rivalry, but it was a personal case of personal rivalry too. Two industry giants, Ford, owned by Henry Ford II at that time, Ferrari, that is Enzo Ferrari. So two industry giants battle it out to protect their heritage and integrity. They were fighting it out for their heritage and for their integrity. And how it all started. So what happened in the early 1960s? The CEO, that is Henry Ford II, he was looking for ways to improve the sales. Maybe the sales, it was staggering at that point of time, and he was looking some ways to improve the sales. And no doubt, the company was facing a tough competition. He was actually facing a kind of a, tough competition from the competitors. There was a growing competition from the competitors. So one of his executive, Lee Iacocca, he argues that the company is suffering from an image problem. Maybe the company needs an image revamp. There is some problem with the way people are, perceiving the company's image. So what was the problem? Maybe the company failed to appeal the new generation of car buyers. Even I'm talking about the time when you can say that it could be maybe 20, 30 years ago. I'm talking about that time. Still people wanted to have a car that looks more stylish and sporty, nifty, right? So what happened, how it all started, Henry Ford too was facing some growing competition, and due to which he saw that the sales are dropping. There were staggering sales. Then one of his executive, Lee Iacocca, he said that maybe they should go for a brand image revamp, because nowadays people want a stylish and a sporty car. So no doubt Ford had no sports car during that time. Whatever array of offerings, Ford had at that point of time, there was no sports car. But then even the legendary Ford Mustang, you can have a look at it. This is a legendary Ford Mustang. Even this model was still a couple of years from coming into existence. So ultimately the problem is that they had no sports model. So what? So what is going to happen is will Ford build one? Is the Ford going to build a sports model? Is it like that? Is it so easy to build a sports model if you don't have a sports car in your area of offerings? Let's go ahead. It was then decided that the only possible and the pragmatic is like feasible, possible, practical solution to turn the table was to acquire a sports car company. So the first option, they were not ready to build a car, to build a product or a sports car. They said the first option to turn the table is to acquire a sports car company. Okay, perfectly fine. Then what happened? So Ford Motor Company quoted a price of whooping $10 million to Enzo Ferrari, right? And they said they would like to acquire his company and all his assets. Oh my God, that's a very good deal. Ford is offering a deal of $10 million to Enzo Ferrari to acquire their company and assets. Very good deal. And Enzo Ferrari, he was a former racer. He's not just the owner of the Italian car maker. He was a racer as well. He was eager to close the deal. He wanted to, let me tell you, all across India, that he wanted to close the deal. Why? He wanted to, get rid of his day-to-day burden of running the company. He was, actually exhausted of managing the daily expenses of the company. So even he was eager to close the deal. Wow. So why rivalry in that case? Everything seems to be in the Ford's favor. Ford wanted to buy Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari wanted to sell his company. Then why? I showed you brand battle. Why it is called as Ford versus Ferrari? Because why the Ford versus Ferrari rivalry? Because at the 11th hour, at the last moment, Ferrari barked at a clause in the contract. They actually did not like one of the clause in the contract. And what was that particular clause in the contract? Imagine, class, tomorrow you are going to be managers, you are sitting on the table to close the deal, and immediately the next party is showing you the contract, and in the contract there is one clause which is totally, making you go crazy. It's completely making the deal haywire. So what was that clause all about? It said that Ford would control the budget, and thus all the decisions governing the Ferrari racing team would also be taken by Ford only. It will govern the budget, and it will take all the decisions governing the Ferrari racing team. My God, Enzo actually, he was unwilling. He simply didn't understand what is it. He was unwilling to relinquish the control. I'm pretty sure nobody would like that because it's his company. He has actually taken steps to take this company to this level. So he was unwilling to relinquish the control of his company's motorsport program. Now I'm pretty sure you all must have got a fair enough understanding what is happening. You know what he told Ford's representatives? Come on. This is a common sense. One company is ready to acquire, another company is not willing to sell. So it could be ended up on an amicable, way. It could be ended up in an amicable way. But you know what? That Enzo Ferrari told the Ford's representative that he would never sell under those terms. And he further added that he would never sell to an ugly company that build ugly cars in an ugly factory. Oh my God, this was a sheer insult of Henry Ford too. That is why I said it was not just a business rivalry, it was a personal rivalry. To imagine, you two are sitting together to close the deal and the other person is telling you, I'm not ready to sell you on these terms and conditions, and neither would I sell to such an ugly company that build ugly cars in an ugly factory. And I have not added here, but he even said fat to Henry Ford too. Oh my God. So it is rumored that he insulted Henry too personally by insinuating that Henry Ford too was not able to carry the heritage of his grandfather, the real Henry Ford. Not only that, he said this ugly company who's making ugly cars in an ugly factory, he insulted Henry Ford too, and he insinuated by saying that the Henry Ford too is unable, he has failed to actually carry on the heritage of his grandfather Henry Ford. He's unable to, light up the candle of the generations where business is in the blood of Ford family. So he insulted to that level. You all can imagine. And oh my God, Enzo Ferrari has really got offended. Not only he did all these things, class, he even sold the majority stake of Ferrari again to a fellow Italian car maker, Fiat. Imagine, you are immediately saying no, you are disagreeing to the deal, you insulted the owner, and to add more to it, he even sold a majority stake of Ferrari to Italian, car maker Fiat. So that is adding more insult to the injury. Now you can think that hang the Deuce and other Ford officials, what they stated? Of course, what they'll say you all can guess. They said that Enzo Ferrari was never interested in the deal. He was never serious about the deal. But he has only used the deal to pressurize Fiat to pay more. So even there was a story at the Ford ends as well. What they said that Enzo Ferrari was never interested in the deal. He was never serious. He just asked us to come and visit them so that he can actually pressurize Fiat to pay them more. Oh my God, this is getting nasty, isn't it? It's getting very nasty. Let's go ahead. And that's how, it ignited one of the most famous rivalries in the motorsport history. All these things, class, actually ignited most of the famous rivalries in motorsports history. Yes, it is. Now, Henry too decided to take the revenge. So what happened? He started creating his own engine or a sports car that would not only be faster. He wanted to create a sports car that would not only be faster than Ferrari, but he'll win at the victory at the 24 hours of Le Mans. Now you must be thinking, what is this 24 hours of Le Mans? Class, this is the most brutal and the prestigious race in the world. 24 hours of Le Mans is actually called as an endurance race. It's a test of an endurance. It is the most brutal. I'm not calling it the most difficult. difficult is still a light but brutal and the prestigious race in the world. So what he said that I'll make a car, I'll make an engine that is going to be faster than Ferrari. And not only that, I'm going to beat Ferrari in the Le Mans. That is 24 hours of Le Mans, the most prestigious and brutal race in the world. And ultimately, the seats for the legendary G40 race car were sold. That is how I told you innovations often come not only just through hard work, it also comes from rivalries too. So here, the seeds of the legendary G40 race car were sold. So initially, it was a very Herculean task for Ford to build a Ferrari killer. They gave the name Ferrari killer. And initially they assigned this task to Ford's Advanced Vehicles Group in UK. Of course, now they are going to build a model of Ferrari killer that will not only win the race at the 24-hour Le Mans, but they called it as a Ferrari killer so that they can take the revenge. He can especially take the revenge of his personal rivalry too. So initially, this Herculean task of building a Ferrari killer was assigned to the Advanced Vehicle Group in UK. It was Ford's group only. But, the team at Ford's Advanced Vehicle Group was unable to figure out how to make the first batch of G40s stay firmly on the tarmac. The cars were unable to stay firmly on the tarmac on the, race ground. They were unable to run continuously for 24 hours. There were some problems of aerodynamics, brake stability. I'll not get into the details, but ultimately, the gist is that when this Herculean task of assigning the Ferrari, killer, of building a Ferrari killer was assigned to Ford's Advanced Group Vehicle in UK, they were unable to, actually figure out how their first batch of G40s will stay on the tarmac continuously for 24 hours. So ultimately, they were having a kind of loss here. They were unable to build again the Ferrari killer that's what Hank Dewey or Henry Ford wanted. So did Ford win or lose at the Le Mans? What happened ultimately? Were they able to make the car? Did they enter the Le Mans? And if they entered, did they win or lose? Let's go ahead and find out. They performed very badly, class. They not only, fared poorly at the 1964 Le Mans, but even for the entire year, overall, not even a single Ford car finished a race. In the entire 1964 season, class, not even a single Ford car finished the race. Forget about winning the race. They were not even able to finish the race. And we are talking about win or lose? No, they performed very poorly. So what happened? Oh my God, who is this? Let's go ahead, find out. So they were actually losing. In 1964 they lost, 1965 they lost. Consecutive losses to Ferrari. They were losing it again and again to Ferrari at Le Mans. As I am repeating once again, the most brutal and the prestigious race. So Ford enlisted legendary LA car designer, basically Ford, called Carroll Shelby. They understood that their advanced vehicle group is unable to make the Ferrari killer and they have lost it consecutively in both the years. None of their model actually was able to finish the race. Forget about winning. So they actually call the legendary LA car designer Carroll Shelby. Here comes Carroll Shelby. And not only he was a car designer in LA, he was the only American drivers to ever win at the Le Mans. Yes, he was the driver who won at the Le Mans. So Ford enlisted the legendary, car designer Carroll Shelby to run the race operations. Yes. So what happened? Who is he? Shelby was already a consultant on the project. So is he Shelby? I'll tell you who is he. But now he was in charge for its success or failure. So already Shelby was in charge. He was kind of the consultant on the project. He was there. right? But now he is the in charge, who is responsible for the success or the failure. Now he is the in charge. So what happened? After the car's failure at multiple races in recent year, Ford gave Shelby one goal. Of course, now since Shelby is the in charge, so there was one goal that Shelby had to fulfill. Ford just gave one goal. We should win. We have to win. Then what happened, class? Shelby, with his trusted friend, a driver and a mechanical engineer, that is what is written as automobile engineering expert, Ken Miles. Now, Ford calling Carol Shelby calling Ken Miles. He reinvented the Ford GT40. And look at these people, they look very simple, class. You can look at the pictures. It's not like that. They look like some Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or, some other. They look very simple, but trust me, this is how it is happening. So, when he reinvented the Ford G40, what happened? This is Ken Miles. Who was Miles? Now, this question is coming into your mind. Let me tell you, Miles was an English driver and mechanical engineer. He had already played a major part in the development and success of Shelby's AC Cobra race cars. So, it is how Shelby is related, how Ken Miles is related to Shelby. Actually, Miles has already played a major role in the development and success of Shelby's Cobra race cars. Shelby was already having a race cars with the name of Cobra. And Miles has already developed and played a major role in the success of these cars. Now, Shelby again wants Miles to be a part of this G40 project. He wants Miles to actually design that Ferrari killer, where Ford has actually failed. They have lost consecutively in 1964 and 1965 at the Le Mans. Now, see what happened. Did Miles actually help? Yes, Miles helped the Shelby team. He addressed many of the Ford's car issues. As I just mentioned, there were issues with the aerodynamics, there were issues in the stability. So he definitely helped the Shelby team to solve the problem that the Ford cars were facing. And of course, he did extensive testing. Trust me, he gave his blood and sweat in the testing of these Ford cars. So what happened? Did the hard work paid off? Yes. Did the hard work pay off? Yes. All the hard work paid off, class. All the hard work paid off. And the G40 MK2 was born. Seeds were sown when, Enzo Ferrari insulted Henry Ford. Two seeds were sown. But only it starts with the dream. That was a dream. But dream was getting shattered again and again. At Ford's advanced group failed to design the cars. They failed to create cars that stay on the tarmac continuously for 24 hours. Second, even, Carol Shelby hired Miles. Miles was also finding difficulties. Actually, this is the truth. Although, we have not discussed in so much detail, but yes, there were a lot of certain basic technical problems. But ultimately, hard work always pays off. So, hard work paid off and G40 MK2 was born. It defeated the Ferrari at the Le Mans in 1966. It defeated the Ferrari. So while Ferrari didn't even have a car that complete the race, trust me, they did not even have one car that complete the race. GT40 MK2 captured the first, second and the third place. All three places were occupied by the Ford's cars. Not even a single Ferrari car was able to finish the race. The same thing that happened with Ford in 1964, 1965. But now you can imagine all the three cars, 1, 2, 3. At Le Mans, they were all of Fords. But even the finish was full of controversy, class. Late in the race, Miles was well ahead of his competition. Of course, Ken Miles was a clear-cut winner, class, while he was on his way to ending Ferrari's dominance at Le Mans. And he was going to become the only driver to win the world's 3 biggest endurance race. So he was the only driver who has won the world's biggest 3 endurance races. And what were those? The 24 hours of Daytona, 12 hours of Sebring and 24 hours of Le Mans. 12 hours, look here, 12 hours of Sebring, 24 hours of Daytona and 24 hours of Le Mans in the same year. He won 3 endurance races and they are the world's 3 biggest endurance race. But what is that controversy? What is that end without controversy? Ford's marketing team, their public relation team had other plans because they wanted to have a photo shoot, a photo finish. So Ford requested that Miles slow down. Come on, in the battlefield, you're asking the gladiator to actually, slow down. So they asked Miles to slow down and finish side by side with McLaren. So, because they wanted to have a picture that would truly emphasize the team spirit, the company's historic dominance at the year's race. Yes, it was Ford's historic dominance at that year, right? In that particular year, it was company's historic dominance. But then, of course, Miles, Ken Miles initially objected, but later on he agreed to the decision. He believed that it would result in a tie because all 3 coming together. So he thought that it would result in a tie for the entire 14. But unfortunately, this was not the case, class. Imagine you're working on a project from day 1. You improve the technicalities of the car and because of you, the company is winning. But you are not going to get the credit. And ultimately, you agreed to the company's marketing team. You thought that it would be a tie, but trust me, this was not the case. Because Miles and McLaren finished the race alongside one another, but instead of declaring the race a tie, Le Mans organizers stated that the car that had covered the most amount of ground was the winner. I'm repeating again. Ken Miles thought that this is going to be a tie, but the organizers, at Le Mans stated that the car which has stayed on the ground the maximum amount of time or distance that has covered the most amount of ground, that would be the winner. So in that case, technically McLaren and Ammon's GT40 had been lined up a mere 8 meters behind 8 Miles' car, right behind Miles' car at the start of the race. So despite being the fastest driver, Miles had lost. So the controversial decision no doubt left Miles robbed of what would have been a historic victory. Oh my God, he has won the 3 world's biggest races, Daytona, right? Le Mans, as I just mentioned. But still, rather than getting this historic victory and a lifetime achievement, that was not the case. So driver was left devastated. He was quite devastated by his unnecessary loss. But Ford celebrated its win for American racing and big money. So this was a war not only of horsepower, that is not only a war of, as I just said, brand or business rivalry, but of grit and passion. And it went down as industry-bending brand rivalry. So the 24 hours of Le Mans of 1966 was about an engineering brawl. If I really talk about it, what was it? It was an engineering brawl between 2 brands, Ford versus Ferrari. Ford would go on to win the 1967, 1968 and 1969 Le Mans races and establish itself as dominating forces in the world of motorsport. And even if you look at the 2019 movie, it also celebrates an unsung hero behind. That is Ken Miles. So there was an unsung hero behind Ford's historic win. Ken Miles, the true architect behind the Ford's GT40 MK2 glory. And what are the lessons, class, that we have learned from this brand battle? The lessons that we have learned are no matter how great your car is, but if the person behind the wheel is not great, आपकी कार कितनी भी अच्छी हो, but if the person behind the wheels is not great, you're not gonna win at the race, no matter what. The person behind the car, the person behind the wheel has to be great. Leadership is a long race, second lesson. Yes, leadership is a long race. Don't just assume that, within just 4 months, 6 months, 1 year, if you're planning to become a leader, no, it's a long race. At the end of the day, just remember Rome was not built in a day. Second, if you want something great in your life, but you feel you're not capable of producing that particular thing by yourself, hire someone who is capable of. If you have the power of hiring someone, go ahead, hire it, just like Ford did. They got Shelby got Ken Miles. Next, what is the next lesson? New challenges class, they require innovation, thinking and solution. So what do I mean by that? If there is a new challenge in front of me, don't try to attempt that new challenge by that same old thinking. It requires new innovative thinking and new solutions. Secondly, please don't be afraid of having big dreams. Have big dreams. You never know. Maybe they could get fulfilled. Then know how to make your point. This is a very important lesson class. If you have a point and if you know there is a corporate politics, or if there is a way through which your statements are always misinterpreted, so you should learn how to make your point. Perfectly fine. At the end of it, there is a YouTube assignment. Please do complete it. Share your answers in the comment section of this video. There are YouTube assignment. It has got 4 questions. Then there is a poll. Do answer this poll again in the comment section. Ford versus Ferrari, American muscle, right? Versus Italian stallion. Ford versus Ferrari, that is American muscle versus Italian stallion. What will you choose? Now, do 3 things. Just like, comment and share. At the end of it, I would love to see your faces here. These are the learners who have cracked CAT 2020 with flying colors. No doubt you will be one among them one day. Enroll yourself in the IP MAT or the BBN Hotel Management batches. Use the code SCORALIFE as I just stated. Enroll yourself. There are a lot of batches, right? And there is a scholarship of 55 lakhs. Trust me, 55 lakhs. So go ahead, grab this. Again, use the code SCORALIFE, and at the end of it, do 3 things. Don't forget to like, comment and share. All across India, this is Shruti Kaura signing off for today. We'll meet you soon in the next video. Alright, adios and gracias. Goodbye, take care. God bless you all. Bye.